Conversations with Phil. Business advice without the BS. Just straight talk and frank conversations to help you grow your business by teaching you to get more leads, earn more referrals, and close more business.
All right. How's it going? I'm here with Phil Gervishek.
Woo! Yeah, so I'm here with Adam Ben Rothfelder. Adam was my trainer at a place called Drench in Milwaukee, what feels like a million years ago, and now is head trainer at Como, and cool enough, the star of NBC's new show, soon to be a hit, Strong. So, Adam, what the hell's going on?
Oh man, it's kind of general conditioning to say not a lot, or but then again, I'd be a liar. There's a lot going on. First of all, it's good to see you, and
Me too.
I hear a friendly voice or a voice from my near past. It hasn't been too long, but I'm happy that being on the show and and talking with you, and how far and how much has gone on since you left, working with me at Drench Fitness, which, I no longer have.
Mm-hmm.
I shut down Drench because of I wasn't in line with it anymore, and it was something that I pushed really hard on. And I think for any entrepreneur that's out there, or somebody with an entrepreneurial spirit, they can understand that being an entrepreneur is about aligning yourself with your passion and then profiting from practicing your passion. And I was at a place of profiting, but I was no longer passionate about it, which then it started becoming the detriment of the business itself, because I no longer wanted to be there. And I built such an incredible brand in Milwaukee, and something that became so quickly known and had so much promise. But yet I think the true strength came in leaving that behind, and trying to see if I could not redo Drench, but do something that's better, that takes from my experiences, in which I've learned over 5 years of running Drench and building it and developing it and owning it. And, now going forward with Como.
Yeah, that's cool. So you hit, I know a big time brand was really kicking some major butt, and then you kind of stopped. So, and now you're doing something else. How does that feel though, Adam? Because I think a lot of people that are thinking about pursuing their dreams say, oh yeah, passion is great, until they can't pay the bills anymore, right? And then they get scared. So how do you work through that? How did that feel for you?
Fear was definitely the first thing in my mind. And fear comes from, unfamiliarity, right? So when we're not aware of something, or we're unfamiliar of something, it's that much more frightening to us. It's not the darkness that we're afraid of. It's what lies within the darkness. And we tend to get caught up in the what ifs on the negative side. But what about the what ifs on the positive side? What if I do this? What if I do chase my dreams and win? Not what if I chase my dreams and lose, right? I think that anybody who sets out to chase their dreams or their passion, if you truly have enough conviction and it's authentic, well, then you will have nothing to worry about, because ultimately people want that passion, and people want that experience and that story that you have to provide for that particular, product or service, whatever it is that they're offering. In my case, being a gym, and walking away from, a lot of people knowing who I was and identifying with that. And we are not here to define ourselves. We're here to refine ourselves. And I think that too many people try to define themselves with a business and get caught up in the identity of what it is that they're doing instead of who they are. And staying true to yourself is the most familiar thing that we can truly do. And if you have faith in yourself, I always thought it was optimism, but I've learned recently that it's faith. And if you have faith in yourself, you'll have the ability to overcome any obstacle and turn it into opportunity. So whether it's fear of starting a business or it's fear of closing a business, I think that you just have to go in like you're going to slay a dragon, be without fear.
Yeah. So how do you get that though, Adam? I mean, you talk about faith. I think faith is important, but how do you get that, right? I mean, were you like born this way, like Lady Gaga, or is this something you've learned? I mean, what, did you just wake up one morning and, oh, here's the faith pill? How'd you do that?
Yeah, no, certainly not. I've always kind of questioned authority my whole life. And I've always kind of questioned, the norm, the ideal situation. Because in my eyes, the ideal situation wasn't really working out for everybody. So spirituality definitely, or religion certainly wasn't the avenue. Self-discovery and realization and the identifying with my situations to overcome them. And, I lost my brother to a drug addiction when I was 22 years old. And having that happen at a young age, it taught me a very, very valuable life lesson, is that life is truly short and completely unpredictable. And you have to take advantage of every moment, every waking minute, which is where I started saying, earn the day. And my faith really came from that statement, to earn the day. I felt that as if I was to do everything in my power to be better or to do better or to flirt with greatness. Well, then I will have earned the day, and therefore I will have faith that a better day will come. And I think that's what it was for me. It's developed resiliency in me. I lost my dad 2 years ago. I've had 2 babies in the last 2 years. Financially things have been rocky for a long time, just because I am passionate and I'm an idealist and I'm chasing my dreams. And that doesn't always mean that, money is going to come. So, things have changed a lot for me in the very recent present, but that's not to say that 5 years of, hardships haven't forged a very firm faith in that everything is going to be okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, man. That's a fantastic reminder, right? It doesn't success is different for everybody, and it doesn't necessarily just mean financial success. Some of that's the freedom to pursue your dreams. Some of that, as you mentioned, is family, right? Some family loss, some family gain. I think that's powerful. So as we think about that, right, and earning the day, Adam, let's rewind a little bit. Talk a little bit about growing up. I know that that is always where we look back to and we think, oh crap, if only I'd have done this. I'm sure you have something that you look back at, maybe a seminal moment or a person that helped you become Adam.
Ooh, yeah, definitely. There's, so my experience is, there's a very prolific writer when it comes to like movement that I like a lot. And his name is Moshe Feldenkrais, and he was way out of his time. He passed away years ago, but he believed that people get their traits from three distinct sources, which is heredity, education, which is self-education, or education, others' experiences. So your own experiences, other experiences, or heredity. Other people's experiences definitely weighed in heavily on my part. My dad was certainly an innovator and a testament to my work ethic. My dad was as blue collar as they came in the sense of his mindset, but yet he was intelligent. He did art. So he came from like a tradesman background mindset, but yet then he was also he was an artist. So he was one of the first people to ever use, Adobe Photoshop, and at one time actually taught it at MATC. And yeah, wow. So like when Adobe Photoshop was its own course for like just nighttime, like computer graphic, when it was like brand new. And my dad always would drive around and talk about this useless information, just complete generalism. And what's interesting is his generality is an exceptional intelligence, right? Just like knowing tons about a little bit about everything and to complete a really big picture. So my dad definitely, was huge. And I know a lot of people would say, well, duh, I mean, your parents, but yeah, a lot of us learned bad traits, and I learned a lot of negative traits from my dad too. Lack of emotional management and anger and things like that I learned from him as well. So not everything was a good lesson, and then on the other end, I had this juxtaposed position with my mom, who was the sweetest woman in the world. And she's the one that taught me the other side of it, so, I think that I look at, where I came from growing up. I didn't know that you could own a business. I knew that you could work hard. I knew that you could achieve your dreams as long as your dreams are realistic. And realistic didn't mean, making it to Hollywood. Realistic didn't mean becoming a professional fighter. Realistic didn't mean becoming a professional model. And I was influenced by the idea of doing exactly what my parents, and what everybody else in, my upbringing thought was, crazy. So really big influence was you won't be able to, and me proving everybody else differently and showing myself differently, because for a while I started to believe it wasn't possible. I became a union electrician and I settled in for a little bit, and I fucking hated it. 5 years of, working Wranglers and work boots. I got nothing against the people who do that. I mean, I have even more respect for them, but, I can at least speak from the experience of being a total blue collar worker to being digging trenches in the middle of winter, to being an entrepreneur and owning a business and wearing a tank top and a pair of jogging pants all day. And, I think that my experiences are so vast that it's so hard to put a finger on it. What really defined, or pivoted my upbringing was me seeing what not to do. That would probably be like my greatest learning tool, being observant on what not to do, even down to like eating, right? And lack of exercise, seeing how unhealthy people were eating around me and realizing that they were overweight and putting 2 and 2 together at a young age, so, yeah. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. Yeah. Paying attention, right? That's important. Paying attention to what to do and what not to do, right? The examples of those around us are there for good or for bad. So I think that's a great reminder, Adam. So as we talk about that, right? You were a professional fighter, right? You kicked people's asses for a living. So let's talk about that. I mean, how does that even happen? How did you get into that? And then what does that look like on a daily basis? Because most people will never experience that. So take us through that, please.
Yeah, being a professional athlete is certainly interesting, and especially being a professional fighter, because professional fighting is kind of like the wild west of sports. It's very new, it's very unknown, and it's very dangerous. After my brother passed away, I heard an ad on the radio for, the toughest man in Wisconsin, and it was an amateur kickboxing match. And I never had fought before, and but I was athletic, and I didn't know if I was the toughest guy, but I definitely knew I was probably the most pissed off. And I walked into that ring, into that tournament, and just knocked the first dude out in like 15 seconds.
Whoa.
I just unleashed hell. I was so angry. My brother just passed away 2 weeks prior, and I just had a lot going on. And I fought in that tournament, and then the next year I fought in that tournament, and somebody came up to me and was like, "You got a lot of talent." And I was not in the place to hear it, so I just kind of was trying to get out my demons. And one day I was approached by a guy who was a jiu-jitsu instructor, and he wanted me to come in and try some jiu-jitsu. And actually what they really wanted was just a big slab of meat to wrestle and beat up. But I started catching on quick and started giving them a run for their money. And at the same time, I was working with a striking coach here in Milwaukee as well, named Horace Kraft. And so I was working jiu-jitsu with Tom Mueller and then working striking with Horace Kraft. And then one day I found myself in a jiu-jitsu tournament, and I took second in a 9-state invitation after only doing jiu-jitsu for like 4 months. And they were like, dude, you are meant to fight. So they talked me into an MMA fight, and I fought a local kid who was 7-1, and I was goose egg, so I came in there against a guy who was very seasoned, and I did really well, and I lost, but it was a lot of bullshit calling, but I'll just say that I lost. And that's where my fighting career began. I realized that Milwaukee wasn't going to be big enough for me, though. 10 years ago, there was nothing going on here. I packed my shit. I canceled a relationship that was in the middle of process. And, because I saw that it was the shortcoming to my growth. And I moved to Minneapolis, and I started training in Minneapolis, where I turned pro. And I started training with some of the best fighters in the world on a daily basis. So at the time I was working as a union electrician, I would wake up, I'd have my breakfast, I'd go to work for 8 hours, and I'd sneak off every 2.5 hours to eat a meal, and then from 4 till about 9 every day I was at practice then. So I would, work from 6 a.m. to 3:30 and then get to the gym at 4. And 3 days out of the week I could nap for an hour before the 5 o'clock class. And then 2 days of the week I had to spar at 4 o'clock. So there was no nap on those days. And then I would leave the dojo and then go to, the weight room for an hour, 5 days a week. So, I was doing 6 a.m. to 9:30, 10 p.m. every day, and just giving her. And, I got burnt out. I got hurt. And that was all at like the pivot of my career, where everybody thought that I was going to go to the UFC. And I separated my shoulder, and I realized now was a good time to leave.
Yeah.
This is where I exit. And I moved to California and lived the Cali life for a little bit, and which is where I originally got into doing some TV and some modeling. And I continued to train to fight because I identified with it. So I was kind of like a businessman then, sitting in a failed business, and I was still like trying to show up to work every day to trying to make money with it, until I finally realized it's time to walk away. And I completely walked away. I literally just started doing martial arts again, and it's been about 5 years since I walked away from fighting. So like,
wow.
I just had to completely step away from it all, because I had to make sure that I didn't have, that I didn't become delusional, and that I could like fight again, or, or that I would start finding myself getting in that same rhythm and putting too much effort into something that's just not going to happen anymore. So, shutting down my fighting career was the first business that I canceled.
Wow. So easy road for Adam so far. We're hearing about how simple that was, right? From 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Wow. That's a lot of stuff, man, getting banged up. And as you become successful, right, everybody loves you. So that's really easy too, right?
Yeah. I mean, so, with success, it was interesting, everybody in, in Minneapolis, like all my friends, they referred to me as their fighter friends, as their fighter friends. So it's like I started identifying with that. That started to become who I was, and that's not who I am. And it was hard because it was hard to please everybody, and that was just kind of a taste of, the things to come as I chose, to continue to keep my feet in the water. Just because I left fighting didn't mean that I didn't want more for myself. I saw something better for myself, something that would leave my face a little less up, for one. And two, building a legitimate, residual income and career that is independent of somebody else's organization. And that was big. All my friends on my fight team, they like abandoned me. They didn't even want to be my friends anymore because I quit. My coach canceled me out of his life. All these people just kind of like, I was no longer a fighter, so they no longer had time for me. And, that's cool, whatever. I don't hold anything against those people. I just know that what I take from it, that those people definitely weren't for me. And going to LA, it was really interesting, and kind of getting into that crowd and seeing, this is definitely not, for me either. Just the scene itself, as much as I want to be in that world, I don't necessarily want to be in that scene. So I'm living out in California. I just got this big commercial. I got a good job training at a celebrity studio, and I get a call that my dad has cancer. And I basically packed my shit in my car that minute, and I drove home, and not before stopping in Vegas and partying for 2 days with some friends that happened to be there. I got lucky on that one. It was a nice little I went back home to, melancholy drama and, everything. But I made it home nonetheless, and which is where our story kind of began, because that's where I opened Drench, and I didn't come home and I was like, oh, I'm opening up a gym. No, I came home and I was a doorman. I went from being a professional fighter, and a union electrician making good money, to working $10 an hour at a door from 5 a.m. till 2 a.m, and bartending on the weekends. And 6 months into it, I'm like, I've had enough. I got to do something great. So that's when I started Drench. And, I grew it from a 600 square foot space to a 6,000 square foot space. And it was not easy. I found out a lot about partnerships and how wrong things go. I've also, found that you should never tie somebody to your dream, tie somebody else. You should never grant access to anybody else to your dream. And, I started Como, which, I officially own 100% myself. And it's a much bigger idea than Drench ever was. Como is a style company that is going to have online training as well as products and services like life coaching. We even have doctors on staff, and you will be able to eventually have a immediate call with a doctor for like advice or, to talk about, or even talking to a therapist about being able to do like online therapy sessions for people with like PTSD and all this other stuff. So the whole goal is to help people achieve and maintain emotional and physical freedom. And that's what Como Nation's about, because that's what I needed the most when I started Como, because I was going through so much. And Como stands for conscious movement, and I felt as if I was consciously moving forward towards something better, and I wanted to share that idea with the world. So shutting down Drench was not a decision for myself or because the business was failing. It was a decision because I wanted to help more people, including myself.
Yeah. Often we give from our greatest need. So that's interesting that, the same was for you, man, that conscious movement. So,
yeah.
so let's kind of wrap this up. You've got this new show on NBC, Adam, that I can't wait to see. it's called Strong. Adam is one of the trainers. There's how many trainers and how many students?
Yeah, man, strong is what it's really about. That's, something I'm really focused. I'm obviously extremely focused on and extremely excited about. And, for everybody that's listening, please tune in if you're in the Milwaukee area. April 13th, we're going to be hosting a huge party at Red Rock on Water Street from 6 to 9. Strong is going to be premiering back-to-back episodes, episode 1 and 2, and then episode 3 on Thursday, the following day, which will be in its normal time slot. I mean, this shit's legit. Like, the show is no joke. I've had a couple of people, they don't understand in Milwaukee. They're like, oh, is this a local thing? It's like, no, mother. This is an international thing. Like, Sylvester Stallone knows who I am, and he just tweeted about me. Okay? This is not local. This is a big deal. So I'm really excited, man. It's 10 of the world's best trainers from all different walks of life, from literally some of the best strength coaches in college football to the best strength coaches and competitors in the CrossFit World Games to, professional level boxers, fighters, me. I mean, all these people are just exceptional. And Todd Durkin, he's this incredible motivational speaker that's very well known. I mean, these people travel the world doing what we do, and we are paired together with 10 incredible women to change their lives. And it starts with being strong. And STRONG is an acronym. Start to recognize your own natural greatness, right? And we show these women how to be great. And from the way they eat to the mentality of their mindset and waking up every morning and doing what they know they need to do to achieve the things they want. And that is what it takes. It takes doing the things we need to do to have the things we want. And goals are great, but action is better. And this show is all about action. It's fast-paced. It's emotional. It's energized. It will get you on the edge of your seat. Just if you haven't watched one of these commercials, one of these teasers, watch one. You will want to participate. You will want to do push-ups and jumping jacks. Whatever the hell is happening on the show, you will want to jump in because you will wonder, how hard is that? Is that easy? Can I do that? And if you can't do that, then you come find me, right? And that's when you come to Como Nation and you subscribe to our online training or our personal coaching, or if you live in town, you come and work with us. I am not too big for you. I am not too big for you. Just because I'm on a TV show doesn't mean I can't help, somebody that's sitting in cubicle 6 that's got a couple $100 extra to spend a month that wants to change their life. Like, stop wasting your money on booze and shitty food. Make yourself a meal, buy yourself a nice craft beer, and come and do some goddamn deadlifts and pull-ups with me and have a great time and express yourself. And that's what this show is going to do. It's going to show people what it takes to achieve what it is so many of us want.
Awesome.
We want to achieve better. We want better for ourselves, and we should want better for those around us. And if that's the case, then we really have to focus on ourselves, because we have to be better before we make anybody else.
Awesome. Couldn't agree more, Adam. So how do they get more of your motivation here, buddy?
You can follow me at Von Rothfelder on Instagram, or go ahead and check out comonation.com. We got information on there, how to get a hold of me, how to contact me. We have a great program right now that we just released called CoMotion. It's a 12-week program for only $97 a month. For only $97. So you get an entire 12 weeks of programming with supported videos to show all the exercises, and it's only $97. There's a lot out there. I'm not trying to sell anybody on what I'm doing, but the reality of it is if you're somebody who's like, hey, my shoulders hurt, I have lower back pain, I'm not as confident as I used to be. I want to be more confident. I want to be more independent. I want to be stronger. I want to know how to be more resilient. I've had a loss in my family. I want to move past it. if you're looking to move and to motivate and to be better, well then, what are you waiting for? If you're not acting, you're reacting. And reacting is a step behind everybody else that's succeeding.
Awesome. So check out Como Nation. Follow at Von Rothfelder on Instagram and Twitter. Adam, it's been a pleasure, buddy. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks, man. Take it easy, Phil.
Yep.